If you have a story that you want to tell, but you're not a filmmaker, you're actually in a really good position, because we are on the other side of this. Like, we were filmmakers with no story to tell. So we had this amazing location, this cemetery. So I just came up with, like, okay, we're living in New York City. Like, the ultimate artist squat is if you go live in the cemetery. So we come up with this artist who, gets evicted and he lives in the cemetery. He didn't even get evicted in the original cut. He just was out there. And so I thought that's going to be enough. That's going to be like this quirky comedy. But when people, when I showed the test screenings, everybody's like, well, what the hell is going on? So that's my rude awakening as a fiction writer, that you need to dig in and find out what the thing is really about. There's this quote by Dave Mamet. He says, you have to excavate the plot from your subconscious. And that's what I had to do, because when I looked into it and I started writing new scenes to kind of get us out there to the cemetery, it was in there. Like, it was like, I thought it was implied, but when I started digging deep, it was like, no, he's there because his father died, and he spent some time out in the cemetery after the funeral, and then just found out it was a great place to work on his poetry. And that's, of course, linked to me having just that fear of the parents dying. And so that was like somewhere in the background, and it had to come out. And so, look for that, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, when I write a new screenplay, I immediately start kind of trying to say, well, what's this thing about? I mean, Taika Waititi, I just saw an interview with him, and he said theme comes like at the beginning. Like, nobody sits down and says, I'm going to make a film about getting over the loss of the love of your life or something like this. Like, no, you sit down and you start writing the actions. And I mean, I don't know. It's like a lot of my stuff, I go back and look at it and say, what was the theme? And then I'm able to articulate what the film is about. And so my last short, Birds of Jade Rock, I realized early on the theme was about surrender. And that helped guide me. One of our collaborators, he had this feature film that he was nervous to shoot because it was really ambitious. And I just said, look, dude, whenever you're in any scene and you're working out a scene, whatever flack you're getting from the DP or from the actors or whatever is going on, or you get confused, just take a step back and say, what is this movie fundamentally about? What is it about? And then that will be your guide through the scene. Just make sure it's touching on what the movie is fundamentally about. And then that's like really what happened with Jasper, was I figured out what it was fundamentally about. It was fundamentally about coming out of a crisis in the way that a butterfly comes out of a chrysalis. You think it's the death, but then as you work through it, you realize that your world has expanded, and you've come out of this, like rising, like the phoenix rising from the ashes. You've come out of this into a new world where you're an expanded, more mature, bigger person. So so I figured out that's what that film was about. In the beginning of distributing the film, I realized it needed a quote at the top just to like set the tone. And I found this RuPaul quote that says, you will die to yourself so that you can be reborn as your higher self. And like looking for that quote was really forcing me to figure out what the theme was. And it's true. I mean, like Taika Waititi said, in that case, I didn't know exactly what the theme was kind of till it was all completely finished, which is nuts that you put all this into a movie and you don't exactly totally know what it's about till the end. Yeah.